You know how stressful it is when guidance systems go down. You lose field time. You lose yield potential. You lose patience. Help is here. Raven Cruiser 2 RTK with Slingshot. Precision simplified. Learn more at ravensimple.com.
Well, Darren, I think we're set up in a great location for where we're filming our Weed of the Week.
Uh-oh. We aren't standing in it, are we?
Well, I hope not. But anyway, we're here amongst some trees, and that's commonly where we're going to find our Weed of the Week, which is stinging nettle.
You know, we get a lot of questions, Brian, about weeds like stinging nettle that happen in tree belts and kind of non-farm areas or non-crop areas. And guys say, why do you got to kill all the weeds there? Just leave them alone there. You can kill all the weeds in your fields. I don't care. Well, the reason why is like this area right here. It's beautiful, and we like to get out if we're doing some hunting or just some hiking or walking around, and you walk through a patch of stinging nettle and the day is over. The fun is over. You're going back home. You're itching like crazy. I mean, it's not like poison ivy or poison oak kind of bad like that, but stinging nettle contains histamines, and they've got a really rough leaf on it, and if you rub through that on your arm, all of a sudden you're going to be itching like crazy for the rest of the day. It's just one of those things that if I want to enjoy my ground, maybe it's right around your farm or out in your trees or whatever, if you want to enjoy it and go out for a walk, you need to kill things like stinging nettle, or it's just going to make it no fun to be out there.
Well, another thing that people will occasionally suggest to us is they'll say, well, some of these weeds have other uses, and why don't you just preserve them and use them for those uses? Well, here's the thing. It's like when we're in a cornfield, okay? Is soybeans out in a cornfield a crop, or is it a weed? Well, we have no way to harvest the soybeans out of there. There's nothing we can do about it. If we're sitting here in a shelter belt, it's really tough to take 3 weeds or 25 weeds and, well, we're going to harvest those for the right purpose. Now, I'm not saying that stinging nettle has a lot of good uses.
Well, hold on. You could actually eat it. I wouldn't really want to, but some have told me it's not that bad to eat. You could actually eat it, but it's taking up space and it's taking nutrients away from other things. Like, for example, many guys have this weed creeping out into their pastures, and when you have stinging nettle grow, now you get less grass growth, and the cattle have no interest in the stinging nettle. They want to eat that grass. It's going to be nutritious for them and everything else, but if there's a stinging nettle patch, they will leave that till last and eat all the grass around it. So it's kind of a waste of that land use area. Now, you also talked about if there are soybeans out in your corn, all of a sudden your corn yields less. There's less food you can take from that acre. And it's just a smart thing in areas where you need to control weeds. So if you're out in your tree belts, shelter belts, non-farm areas, how do we kill stinging nettle?
Okay, if it was me, what I would do is go out with a very high rate, the highest labeled rate of 2,4-D, but I wouldn't be spraying that just any time of the year, because if you have leaves on trees, if you have flowers that are growing nearby, 2,4-D could potentially move off target and hurt some of those plants. It might not do a whole lot of damage, but why take the risk? What we would recommend to you is spraying late in the fall and early in the spring, and then we don't have a whole lot of issues.
I'd say the highest necessary rate. And if you get stinging nettle when it's fairly short, it doesn't take that much 2,4-D to control it. It's just when you let it grow so it's 4 feet tall.
But that's the problem, is we see it that big.
Yeah, you've got to use a pretty strong rate to get it under control.
Well, once again, our Weed of the Week is stinging nettle. It's not a fun one you want to run into out of the fields or out in shelter belts or anything like that, basically because of the itchiness that it brings. So once again, try to get that under control on your farm with a good strong rate of 2,4-D.
That's all time for this week's weed, but Iron Talk is coming up next.